Hey, welcome back to the review. Glad to be back, glad to be here. I'm glad to be back to have a chance to get another video out and to my next top 5 video. And today we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons you should get into CCGs. Let's get started. The CCG or TCG stands for Trading or Customizable Card Game. So it's a tabletop game, specifically a card game, that usually involves one-on-one, one player versus another player. But can be, depending on the CCG or TCG, or depending on that card game, you can have possibly more people involved in the game, possibly. So it just depends on the given TCG or CCG. But most of them are one-on-ones. So, and what this means is these are games that come up with where sets come out with a lot of different cards with different rarities, and they're released generally in some kind of starter with a certain set number of cards. Sometimes they're all completely random, and then you'll have boosters, and those will usually be random allotment of cards. Usually you're going to have cards separated into rarities, a common, uncommon, and rare. And actually it's usually been kind of a trend to have it's also a trend to have super rares, or ultra rares. In other words, usually you're going to have a common, rare, a common, uncommon, and rare as the main 3 rarities. And what that signifies is how likely you are to pull one of those cards randomly from these booster packs that you can get for these particular cards. But that's the basic format of the market format and the sort of mechanic format of a customizable card game. And the idea is that you are able to create your own kind of customized deck, which I'll get to in this list. Hence the customizable. Buy what you want, make what you want out of the cards you have in a collection to create something that's you. But here we go. And what I mean by that is that most of them are pretty, they try to release them in formats or ways to really be able to allow new players to get into the game. And what that usually involves is usually a starter deck or a starter kit. You know, they usually have some kind of easily accessible way for people to have a good go at the game, to try out the game, to get a good taste for the game, and really decide if they really want to delve further into it. So, and it's especially if you're not playing competitively, if you're just playing it for fun. Then a lot of CCGs or TCGs, whether it's old or new, are really fairly simple to get into, are relatively easy to get into. Now, depending on the CCG or TCG, depending on how complex or how long-lived the game is, maybe more complex or take more time to get involved or have a higher learning curve, so to speak. What comes to mind is Star Wars or Star Trek CCG versus one that very recently came out, in fact, last week or two max, the Transformers TCG, which is far, far simpler than any of those other games, a lot of the older games that I've reviewed. So the learning curve will vary, but relatively speaking, they are relatively easy to get into. They usually provide starters with instructions and FAQs and helpers. Some CCGs or TCGs might vary a little bit on this. I know that Destiny involved dice, so I don't really classify in the same category as a full-on trading card game. And the Transformers TCG that came out recently, the character cards are a lot bigger than the rest of the normal deck cards that you shuffle. So, with exception to a few of these CCGs or TCGs, they're relatively easy for storage. Really easy for storage usually. Usually it's all cards. All the same size cards and just cards. And usually what you're going to be doing is, again, you can get any of those simple card holders, storage boxes. Example, here's one. One of these simple count storage boxes here. One of these, this is a 200 count one. Pretty simple. Put it in. This is a very small one. You can get ones that are a lot bigger, varying sizes. And usually you just stick whatever deck you want in there that you've constructed or played with, and that's it. That's all you need to carry around for a game usually. You only need to bring one thing to the game, to the table, your deck. That's it. And that's it. That's all you need to bring is your deck. All you need is your deck. All you need is your opponent to bring his deck. Or, even if you want to be really generous, have two decks to carry. One for someone who wants to play, who may not have one. One for him, one for yourself. And that's it. So that's it. You need at max two decks, normally just your own one singular deck. And that's it. That's normally all you have to bring. That's it. Again, like I said, there's one exception with this Star Wars Destiny thing that has dice involved. So I don't know how much you'd classify as really a CCG or TCG. There's really, there's dice. Now this is the huge thing that's just amazing about the genre. Customizable, hence the name of the genre. Customizable card game or trading card game for another vernacular. I mentioned earlier at the outset. So with this kind of genre, you're going to have sets of different cards printed. So many cards, usually 150 to 200, maybe even 300, depending on the initial set size or given set size, of different cards that you're able to purchase as a player, and then you get to take those so many cards, whatever ones you have in your collection, and create whatever deck you want for your game, and that's usually all you have to worry about. I have decks that for CCGs and TCGs that I have not had to change or worried about changing for years. In many cases, for the dead CCGs or TCGs, even for the current ones, my Magic deck, I finally have it at a point where I enjoy it, and that's the only thing I have to worry about. That's the only deck I play because I enjoy it, and that's all I need. That's it. So I have one Magic deck. That's what I play. Now, the one exception to this is, again, if you're trying to play professionally or with any game that currently has any kind of rotation going on. For example, Magic is one. I know that Pokemon, any of the big ones right now that's still going for CCGs, they do have rotations going on. So what that means is that so many cards within so many years of release are going to be valid for official events that can be used, and the older items will not. That does not mean you can't play with those items. It just means that it makes it where you do technically need to have a different set of cards to pull from if you're going to be involved in the current meta or the current format. Now, if you want to get involved in that, then you have to be more keen on what's currently legal, quote unquote, legal, and what's not. And you might have to have multiple decks in that case if you want to enjoy some of the older stuff but still dabble in the current stuff. So that's something to be aware of. But if you're not worried about formats, you're just playing for fun, then, like I said, usually you can just fully customize and build a deck that you prefer, and you can keep that for as long as you like, as long as you're playing the game. And that, I think, was the original intent of CCGs or TCGs, was to allow you that full breadth of customization. And that really is the draw of a CCG or TCG, is that allows you to really make something that's your own, that expresses who you are in terms of a person, in terms of likes and dislikes, and what sparks your imaginative flair. It is just so much fun. It's just so much fun to play those games and see those infinite combinations going off, and never really knowing what you're going to face or what combination you're going to have to deal with, and seeing how you deal with that as a player versus that other combination, and seeing how things work. So it's just amazing And it's good as long as both players are good sports and having fun with these games. Then it's just fun to be able to sit there and sit across from somebody. And this really can go to a lot of other tabletop gaming experiences as well. Is that if you bring a good attitude to it, you and the other person you're sitting down and playing with, then it's just a lot of fun time with socially interacting with somebody while you play a game. It's just a lot of fun, a great way to spend your time because you are interacting face to face with somebody. And that's one thing that's always drawn me to gaming that I enjoy is that interaction that happens when you are with that person physically across the table from them. And so that's my number one reason. It is an excellent way to spend your time. It's an excellent way to have a lot of fun and to do it that really shows a lot of who you are in the process. The biggest negative I hear people say about this format, and that's something you have to also address on this top 5 video, debunk this, is the whole money pit thing. That's the big famous term, money pit. And I've touched on this in a previous video before. It is only a money pit if you allow it to be a money pit. It's only a money pit if you allow yourself to go that angle. Again, money pits only involve 2 categories of people that are going to fall in that category where this is going to become a money pit for you, any of these games. As A, if you're such a collector to an extreme where you have to have every card and you just have to have it, then yes, it's going to run you some money to get every single card for these games as they come out or as they have come out, and get every single card ever printed, ever produced, or ever will be produced unless it only runs for one set, then you're lucky. So if you're one of those, then yes. 2, if you're trying to if you're trying to hit the professional high-level tournament scene, then yes, it's going to involve money to get what the meta has classified as the best of the best cards. So make sure you know who you're playing with. Make sure that whoever you play with is aware that you're just trying to play for fun, that you don't play the pro scene, that that you just want to have a fun time playing a fun game. And hopefully they'll get the hint and they'll understand that it's just for fun and not to pull out their, tournament winning top tier deck to try and smash or whatever. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry that it took a little bit longer this time around. I'm reworking my schedule right now to try and make it so that I can put out more videos more regularly for all of you. Thank you so much to all those who tune in. And I will be reviewing upcoming. I'm looking at a couple older games to look at right now. Also to be reviewing, I will be reviewing a game I recently got into just because I'm a huge fan of the original IP, and that is the Transformers TCG. There are a lot of videos out there right now already, but I know for those who value my opinion or enjoy my channel, you probably want to hear my opinion or take on it. So I'm going to give that to you, and also with a little bit of a gameplay explanation, run through, and tell you what I think. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time on the review. Have a good night.